Welcome my people to another video. This video is dedicated to a guy on r/Hyprland that just has no idea how to actually game on Arch Hyprland. So this video is for you, specifically you and other people who actually want to install and use Arch Linux for gaming. I'm going to show and why does it install in the way that it installs and does stuff. So I'm going to be kind of quick with it or slow, depends how you see it. So let's start. First, we're gonna go onto my web browser or your web browser for choice. Ignore, that was for a different video that I was going to make, but I got caught up with the guy that has no idea how to do stuff. Well, let's go on GitHub. On GitHub, on my repo, I'm going to explain why does it install that it installs and other stuff. Just because for some reason a guy just doesn't want to do much here. Let's go to archgaming.setup.sh, this here. So let's first start. The most important parts that you're most likely going to use every single time. Rust is not going to be a part of it, okay? Rust is going to be installed automatically because Paru requires Rust, and way better to have Rust installed than just to actually deal with the pain of doing stuff. Let's get over with it. This repo actually installs Plasma Desktop, but you can replace this with Hyprland here by using Nano. You have to install it and replace it with Hyprland, and probably add also Waybar to this install, which is pretty easy. Also, I'm going to remove Steam like right now because you have to install it manually because there's other stuff that just will not work great. I'm going to commit the changes, and I'm going to add just no freaking stuff to it here, let's start with Paru. Why does it install Heroic Game Launcher -bin and not a Flatpak version? Because the guy was complaining about Flatpak and stuff. Well, if you install the Flatpak version, you're pretty much fucked from the start. You're pretty much fucked from the start if you install the Flatpak version of Heroic Game Launcher, because you basically have to rely on WineTKG staging NTNSync-bin version. Because if you don't, because Heroic Game Launcher, if it's the Flatpak version, it will not detect WineTKG staging NTNSync-bin by default. So my version, it installs the native version of Heroic Game Launcher that actually can access your system files, which can actually detect WineTKG staging NTNSync-bin. So you can actually use it to actually game. So you can actually use the Wine version by default. It will be detected by default, and you don't have to do any additional modification for it. While if you use the Flatpak version of Heroic Game Launcher, it would have been much more of a pain. So I'm going to showcase, and the guy was complaining about Hollow Knight, the game, not being able to play it. And I'm sorry to the developers, but I had to pirate it to actually test it, and it worked right out of the box. I did some modification to it before actually playing it, but the single modification I'm going to. By the way, every game here is pirated because I'm broke as and I don't have a job, and I actually wanted to pay. I actually wanted to pay for all of those games, but I just don't have the money. So I don't have the money, okay? And let's look here. Those things are by default enabled. You have to disable it. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm just gonna. If you don't have if you don't have the prefix already made, like and stuff like Hollow Knight, I think was called Hollow Knight. Was it a K? I don't know. Hollow Knight, yeah, this one. And you go to actually, and I pirated many games. I'm sorry to the other developers, but I can't afford it. I wanted to buy it, I just can't afford it. Okay. I'm not trying to be a bad dude, but I literally cannot afford the games. Okay. So past that, Hollow Knight works by default if you disable and use what I use. It works, okay? And I'm actually going to show that it works without any additional modification. I'm actually gonna hit play and show you that Hollow Knight works by default if you use my stuff, because it just works. For newcomers who don't actually want to use Hyperland, just use Plasma Desktop. You don't have to do any modifications. It's already done by default. You don't have to modify stuff. I don't actually know if this is being seen. I'm going to turn down volume for Hollow Knight. One thing to avoid. Okay, so you guys can see it, hopefully. I'm actually going to make sure you guys can see it, because don't wanna Hollow Knight.exe. Okay, so you can see that the game works right out of the box. We're going to go to audio and music volume all the way down and turn up the volume back up. Never mind. And the game works. Sound volume. Maybe that is the thing that just... The game works. I'm going to turn down all the settings to the minimum because there is no way I'm playing with my PC being that bad. 75 Hz, screen scale, back, and let's start the game. New game. Brightness, let's keep it at all of the default. And I'm going to skip the cutscene because I can't give a freak about this. I just want to show the gameplay. Yeah, press any button to skip. Yeah, I'm bad. Okay. So, how many cutscenes are there? Sound is probably a good idea. Not video options, audio. As you can see, the game works, and I found a little bit of a secret by exploring. The guy just wanted to play his Hollow Knight game on the computer Arch, and he said he's new. Don't worry, bro, I'm also new. I didn't play Hollow Knight much, so I'm pretty bad. But I kind of got to the part where I actually understand most of it. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm lagging, it's very bad. But for you, but even recording. But when I was not recording, I was getting a little bit more frame rate. The fuck happened? This didn't happen when I was I have no idea what that was, but it didn't happen when I was... For this I'm not going to interact. So this works. Hold it focus. This just basically... I forgot about that trap. To be fair, I never actually wanted to play this game. I just only wanted to see if it's actually supported using my stuff. Just actually installs it. And yes, it's pretty much supported by default. If you use my stuff installation, my installation just makes it the way it installs my stuff. It just makes it a ton more easier to actually play those games on Linux. I think you just jump and attack. I don't know if I can hurt it, but okay. And hold. I got pretty far into the game, but it's still very laggy when I'm not recording because I forgot about that too. Anyway, and I cannot go back up. Nice. Wait, I can just show you for a game pretty much out of the box. I don't want this turning into like a game where just want to just play Hollow Knight, so I'm gonna end it here. Just very quick to my menu. I didn't read. That too greatly, but Hollow Knight pretty much works. Yes, I want to quit the game. So, you know, it's supported. Now let's actually take a look at another game. This time I'm going to launch Geometry Dash. And I'll be testing some of the popular games that I usually play. And I'm going to have to disable something. I don't talk about it. And we are in Geometry Dash. If you're wondering, yes, I played this game for a long time. I'm pretty much a fan of this game. And I accidentally pressed on the... Rather, I don't want to get copyrighted, so I don't want to get copyrighted. And yes, the sound and what you see here, pretty much, you know, it's pretty much working and stuff. I love the game. I just don't have the money for it. This game is can actually get me copyrighted, so I don't want that to happen. So, in conclusion, let me re-enable that. If you use GitHub, if you use my repo or from GitHub, you're guaranteed to get most of the games that are single player, or some games that are actually multiplayer work without a problem. There is not an 100% guarantee that everything will work, but things here will install the minimum requirements for actually gaming. So next time you think that gaming on Linux is impossible, remember, there is this repo that actually lets you play all of the games you want. Does have Kitty? Yeah, does have Kitty. Okay, I was thinking that this script didn't have Kitty installed, because that would have been a massive issue. But yeah, it does have Kitty, so that's great. And basically, it installs. I'm now going to explain what a script does, because many people will actually want to know what a script does before they actually install Linux and actually do use this. So let's start. Sudo pacman syu --no confirm. This basically updates your system to make sure everything will actually work. Sudo pacman sddm will actually, that's a greeter that's an interface that will actually let you log in into the PC, into your PC desktop environment. Kitty is the terminal that you will actually be using sometime if you are sometime when you want to install other apps, because you probably would, and you will have to use the terminal. The terminal, unfortunately. Don't worry. The terminal is very easy to use. You can just type paru and the application you want to install that it might be available, or just search on the AUR website on the AUR website of the Arch repository, and you have all the apps you need there. Plasma Desktop is a desktop environment that you will be using to actually interact with your desktop and actually be able to play those games. Rust is a dependency that is needed by Paru. So, but will actually tell you that, hey, do you want to install Rust, which is a dependency, or Rust up? But I did to install it Rust, because it will install it by default. Nautilus will actually let you. It's a file manager, and it's kind of one of the best file manager I ever used. Unfortunately, it's GNOME only, so it will install a ton of dependencies that are only for GNOME. Discord is a platform that pretty much everybody knows. VLC will actually let you play Friday Night Funkin', because without VLC you won't be playing that game ever. JDK, OpenJDK is basically a dependency for Minecraft, so you'll actually be able to play Minecraft on it. And OpenSSL -1.1 will actually will actually let you play. Well, you probably saw it that I'm playing Monica After Story and just Natsuki from it. Well, the installers will not work without OpenSSL 1-1.1. Well, only the Monica After Story installer will not work, but the rest will. But from what I've tested, just Natsuki should work by default. If not, this is a thing. Pavu control will actually let you control the sound, because yes, my repo it installs the minimal version of Plasma Desktop, which doesn't come with any way to connect to the internet unless you have a wired connection to internet. But you could use NM2E to actually log into the internet, or actually just connect to the internet, because that's what I actually used. And now the computer completely remembers it and connects by default, because this script is recommended to be run on a minimal installation of Arch Linux. It's recommended to be run on a minimal installation of Arch Linux, and not any other stuff, because this thinks that you are actually installing on a minimal installation. But to be honest, to clone the repo, it's pretty easy. And but before I actually show you how that, I'm gonna finish what does it do. Every script here. Flatpak, it basically installs Flatpak, and some games like Roblox, as you saw, which is I used Sober to actually launch Roblox. You need Sober, but Sober is a closed source application, and you need Flatpak to actually install it. So it does not. So it doesn't install Sober by default, because I don't trust it, and I don't want to like get your account banned by and accidentally and stuff, because it's not a supported natively and is not supported or endorsed by Roblox, the official company. So no, it's not recommended to use Sober. But if you gonna take the risk to actually play Roblox on your PC on Arch Linux or any distribution of Linux, like really, well, you assume that risk of getting banned or your account being monitored by Roblox. But I used it and I had no problems. And git clone will basically clone the repository of Paru, and git is should be installed by default, because in order to clone this repo you have to install actually git yourself. CD Paru will actually move to the repo of Paru. Make pkg-si will actually install the package of Paru, and Paru will basically install everything listed here. Heroic Game Launcher, I actually showed you the application of Heroic Game Launcher to actually prepare it for gaming, and how you add stuff for gaming, and add games and add games using the Heroic Game Launcher. Paru S-Wine-TKG staging ntnsig-bin will basically install Wine, the version that I used to actually play Hollow Knight and Geometry Dash, but every game works. And LibraWolf-bin, it's literally the web browser I'm using right now to show you the script. It's also LibraWolf is also available on Windows, but it's way easier to actually install it on your desktop Linux distribution. It's easier for me, I guess. And reboot will actually just reboot the system. I forgot to say what sudo system enable sudo system ktl cctl enable sdm-service point service. That service just enables your greeter to actually use the greeter, because without that command will actually not let you use the desktop to actually boot into the greeter and then into your desktop environment. And that's basically what it does. Pretty easy. And the no confirm here will basically you run the script and it does everything automatically. It doesn't ask you for confirmation. So the dash no confirm just doesn't ask you for confirmation. And Flatpak, some games and apps are required to install through Flatpak. But I'm not going to list one of the apps, because it's actually kind of illegal to actually use the app. Because it downloads things from it. I'm going to explain what other script does here. This one for YouTubers also installs OBS, and it installs Google Chrome here, because YouTubers, but not me, will actually have no idea how to use. I turned off the microphone because my dad entered the room and other stuff. I'm going to basically list everything here now. Sudo pacman syu, as I explained, updates your system. Sudo pacman s, it basically installs additional apps that you might use. OpenShot is it's an app that will actually let you edit videos. This is for YouTubers, and I don't know why I let it do this install Steam, because you have to install it manually, because Steam, if you use the script to install also Steam, it will basically default on installing the default, and it will install basically the default, the first basically. I literally cannot find the words perfectly. it will install the AMD drivers by default to play videos using Steam and games actually, because videos you'll have no problem. It will basically install the AMD Vulkan drivers. So don't use this. So basically use the script, because I'm going to remove Steam, but you could actually just add Steam back if you have AMD hardware, because you have no problem whatsoever. And sudo system enable CSD I explained. Click it Chrome Paru, yep. And Google Chrome will install Google Chrome. Paru as Google Chrome will install Google Chrome, and OBS Studio-Git will install the Git version of OBS. Easy, right? You run the script and you got everything. And this is just for Office, which probably most of people are people who are actually not watching me. And you have to make the script executable, but it also tells here how to do it, which is very easy. Because if you want to use it for gaming, you just type, you just have to cd into the repo by using cd. And yeah, I explained it. I showed you guys that it's possible to play on Linux with a complete setup. And I'm actually going to explain how to add games to Heroic Game Launcher. You go to add game, type the name of the game, and you will pick it up by default. I'm actually going to type gibberish here because that's how stuff works. And wine version, you want to select the wine version that I told you to that was installed by default, and then you go to select executable, and you go to wherever the game is located, because you'll not have a directory called Games Launcher. I created it, by the way, so will most likely be in you know, the downloads, but it's written in Romanian because that's my language and stuff. And just basically go into the folder that your executable or the game is located, and you launch it like Hollow Knight I showed you guys, and select choose and finish. But I already done that, and then it will show you that it's creating the prefix, and then after that it should just launch normally. But if you have hardware that is not supported, that doesn't support DXVK, you can, and to make sure your stuff is actually supported, just go on Tech Power Up on here, and basically let's search for the I don't know, just a random GPU. The RX 5060, is that a thing? Yeah, AMD Radeon X stuff. Okay, and here it should tell you if your graphics card is actually supported. And graphics card features. Here you look if everything is up to date. DirectX, you'll actually want to have support for that, because the way Proton works on Steam is different than WineTKG. OpenGL, you also want to make sure it has the latest, and Vulkan also the latest, which is 1.3. Basically, if you have 1.3 support, you are good to go. You are good to just basically install and basically install Linux, because you're guaranteed to actually use the graphics card to be able to play games. And if you look here, this graphics card is actually not the best, but it's very great if you're going for you know, gaming, because this installs because my script installs the AMD graphics by default if you are going to enable to install Steam there by default. For Nvidia it's a different choice, so that's why I deleted Steam from the installation, because you may have Nvidia graphics card which have to you have to select different things which are not the default, and I have no idea why did I type Woffice instead of Office. I don't know. I'm not a furry. Don't get it twisted. I'm not a furry. That's a lot better. Okay, I'm changing also this. It will not be an updated readme. And I'm not going to list out the reason because I'm that freaking lazy. And the repo is here. You guys can clone it. By the way, if you want to clone it, you just copy this entire string here. It will be the same for literally everyone. I think I should just make it to not be like the Arch setup script for everything. Scripts for everything. And I think I should make it smaller. You basically clone this repo, but you don't actually click this button. You actually have to type everything manually, but after you type it once, you don't have to type it again, because you just cd into the repo, make the script executable by using chmod plus x and the script you actually wanted. And by the way, you could also type la or ls as I showed in the other video to actually list the files in the directory. With the explanation done and every game here, by the way, every game here that I tested works. Hoi 4 works, Hollow Knight works, Geometry Dash works, Misside I finished the full game like 3 times or 2 times. Plutonium Launcher, well, there is a bit of an issue. For some unknown reason, the game lags like hell. I don't know why. It just lags now. And I don't know what's the issue to that. But the game launches, but it's very laggy. Probably because of my probably because my integrated graphics card is so old and has only 4.2 OpenGL support, and it's in compatibility mode also. So I'm gonna finish the video here off and if you're wondering how I'm closing Windows is super, which is the Windows key, and C, like the letter C on the keyboard. I use Hyperland and I use Arch, by the way. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more